Ciao guys, welcome in my kitchen. Today I want to show you how do I make at home the bread with our 00 flour in 1 kilo chef. Also I'm going to use the Caputo dry yeast. The recipe is very simple. There are a few steps, but once you follow the steps, the result are guaranteed. Let's go see what the first step is. The ingredients for the bread are 1 kilo of Caputo flour, 00, 4 grams of Caputo dry yeast, 700 grams of cold tap water, and 25 grams of sea salt. Open our flour. So we're going to take only 800 grams of flour. We're basically going to make a preferment, and we're going to add the rest of the flour in 15 hours, 15 to 18 hours. So here we have 800 grams. Oops, went a little bit over. Okay. Now then we weigh the flour, we have to weigh the water. For the first step, we're going to add only 360 grams of water. There we go. Now we have to weigh the yeast. We're going to use 3 grams of dry yeast. Alright, excellent. Here we have the flour ready. We're going to add the dry yeast. We're adding the water. If you have a mixer, it will be much faster, but by hands it will only take a couple minutes. We don't need to develop the gluten network, so we're gently going to combine flour and water together, and that's it. Once the dough is formed, kinda, we let the dough rest for 15 to 18 hours at room temperature. What I always do, if you let the rest this on a room temperature and you don't have a space where the temperature is all the same, I put this my container in the oven when the oven is off, which is always the same temperature. So you have a chamber, then it's always at the same temperature, which is great. Now you mix till all the flour is getting incorporated, which will take a few minutes by hand, but if you have the mixer, it will be much easier, much faster. Okay, after a couple minutes mixing by hand, you will see then the dough seems too tough, seems then missing some water, which is correct. This is called biga. This is a preferment. Don't be afraid if the dough is too stiff, if it doesn't get together. You actually don't want to really build a gluten network. We're just gonna break up the big chunk, and we leave this cover with a plastic for, like I said, 15-16 hours. If your temperature ambient is too hot, which is going close to 75, even in 12 hours they will be ready to use. So remember, don't be afraid if this doesn't build it as a dough. That's how it's supposed to look. So I break up the most of the chunk, and I leave like this for approximately 12-15 hours room temperature. You can cover with a lid or with a plastic. Right now I ran out of plastic, so I put a lid on, and I save this, and I see you in 15 hours. Here is result after 15 hours. I smell the acid, I smell more flavor, so this is all good. That's really good result. Right now I can transfer this in a larger container and add the rest of the flour and the rest of the water. So as you can see now, it's one mass, which I can see the fermentation happen. Now is we have to measure out all the rest of the ingredient. "340 grams of water. We have our 25 grams of sea salt, and next step is to combine all the ingredients together. Okay, here is my larger container where I'm going to add the biga or the starter, you can name as you like. What I'm going to do is break this down a little bit so I have better absorption of the flour and the rest of the water. Remember, if you have a mixer, throw everything inside as I do right now in this bowl. Biga is in, dough is in. Now I have to add the remaining of the flour, which is 200 grams. So total is 1 kilo of total recipe. Option, you can add another gram of yeast if you really want to give a quick start. It doesn't hurt, you only makes the process a little bit faster. So dough in, flour, yeast optional, and my 340 grams of water. I'm not adding all the water, I'm letting absorb half, and I start mixing. Remember, if you have a mixer, that's much easier, much quicker. You do the same step, but in a mixer. If you have a mixer, probably it's easy to add the water in once, or at least the 90% of water in the beginning, so you don't have the hook splashing water on the side. Okay, next step is to add the salt. When our dough is getting together, as you can see in the mixer, when the hook is spinning and the dough is getting not sticky by the wall of the bowl, you can add the salt. So basically when the gluten network is developed. Salt is in, we keep mixing. We have a little bit more water left, which we're adding, so we melt the salt, and now we're going to incorporate. Don't worry, the water will be incorporated. There we go, all the water is added. Keep mixing for a few more minutes, and after that we can remove the dough from the bowl and go on the bench. Alright, now then the dough seems to get a good strength. We could actually remove the dough from the bowl and work on the bench a little bit. Just a little flour, always good. Keep a little flour on the hands. Okay, here I finally see dough getting together. Have a good strength. This technique is good to let the dough get a good stretch, a good gluten development when you don't have a mixer. Basically, pull, slap, and fold. Pull, slap, and fold. And you will see then, even if the dough seems sticky, you get your gluten development. Make the dough a little bit tight, develop more gluten possible, and we're gonna let it sit on the bench for about 10 to 15 minutes. We can either put it back in a bowl, but we're going to do a couple more folds, so that will make more the dough resting, and it will be much easier and stronger to work. With a mixer, once you take the dough out, you can do the same thing. Just let it rest on the bench without slapping. You let it sit, you get a towel, you cover, and you let it sit for about 10-15 minutes. And we come back in 10 minutes and we'll see the difference in the dough. Okay, we're going to check the dough after being sitting for 10-15 minutes. As you can see, it's developed a lot more strength. The dough is now finally rested, and we're going to do another fold. That will make the dough incorporate more air, and it will make also the gluten network more strong. So as you can see, dough is tough, is extensible, and now we're going to do another rest for another 10 minutes. After we folding for a couple times, remember, we don't want to pull too hard. What we're trying to do is trying to have this part smooth. We don't want the part to break, so we're just pulling. You can let it sit another 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes here on the bench, or put it back in a container, as long as get covered. Since I already made a mess on the bench, I will leave here for another 10 minutes, 10-15 minutes approximately, and let it rest. Okay, let's go check the dough. As you see, it's getting more tough, which is good. This is not necessary this process, but it will makes really the dough, the bread, more airy and crumble. So you actually want to do that because it will help you achieve better product. So this is the last one, the last 10 minutes of resting. I get this from Amazon, very easy. Put this over, putting flour, cover with a towel, and let it proof either till get double the size, or you can put it in a refrigerator and bake the next morning. If you don't have something like that, you just get in same bowl, and you're going to put a napkin or towel, dust with flour, and once you place the dough in the middle, you can close we can close it on top so it doesn't get dry. It's the same thing, by the way. After the last 10 minutes, we are able now to shape the dough. I think for a loaf of bread, medium, at least it must be 500 grams. So what I will do is dust with a little flour, even on the scale. We're going to do a medium loaf of 600 grams. The rest you can make pizza, focaccia. It's very versatile. If you roll it in itself, you make a double and you let it proof in a pan, and when the size get double, you can always stretch and make a focaccia or pizza out of it. So go over. And 1, 2, and 3. Here is our bread. We get a basket. Make sure you dust it with the flour really well. We're sealing the back. And here we have our loaf of bread. There are two options. You let it proof this till it getting double in size, or you put it in a refrigerator and you bake the next day. I prefer to do it the next day because you get a lot more flavor and aroma and better fermentation. But if you make right away when the dough is proofed, it will actually be okay. So right now we're placing in a spot where it's a little warm, and we let it proof, and we'll see when it's double in the size how it looks. Approximately 5 hours later. That's the bread. I can see then is doubled over the size. Now what I'm going to do is I turn the oven on, I put my cast iron pan inside, and I set the temperature of the oven at 500 Fahrenheit. When I'm putting the bread inside, I will reduce the temperature at 450 Fahrenheit, and I will cook for 20 minutes. After the 20 minutes, I will reduce the temperature at 400, approximately 420, and let it cook for at least another 30 minutes until you get your desired color. Here is the pan right out from the oven. Going to dust a little bit with semolina. You can see this smoke. And right now it's time to flip over the bread. We'll gently go on it. Okay, once I set this in the middle, I will get my sharp, and I will go from one side to the other. Alright, and now we go in the oven for 20 minutes at 450 Fahrenheit. 20 minutes are just passed. Let's go check the bread. Get beautiful spring, but still need to get color. So we're going to drop the temperature from 450 to 400, and we let it cook until we get a beautiful brown color. Alright, here is the bread after baking approximately on total 50 minutes. I recommend to let the bread cool off, because if we're going to cut right now, all the moisture inside it will stick to the knife and you can break the structure of the bread. So be patient, let it cool off the bread on a rack, and just enjoy the smell for the moment. Here is the final moment of truth. I can see then the crust is very crispy, and let's cut the bread to see the inside of it. Proudly say then I am very happy with the result. Bread came out great. Thank you guys to watch my video recipe on how to make your bread at home. I hope you enjoyed. Now it's your turn to make your bread at home. The recipe is easy, it's a few steps. Make sure you follow all the steps and the results are guaranteed. I'm very happy with my bread, and now it's your turn.